Hey guys, it's YOU WACK, and welcome to 3 years ago, a video series where we look at a specific hero in Overwatch and how they've changed over the past 3 years. Ever since the game of Overwatch came out, Overwatch itself has changed a lot, especially when you look at the heroes themselves. They have drastically changed to the point where I can make, once again, another video series. But the first time around, we looked at Mercy and how she's changed over the past 3 years, and even still to this day, after all those changes, she is still a controversial hero. Well, this time around, we're going to be looking at another controversial hero that hasn't gone under a lot of changes, but enough changes to make a significant impact to not only herself, but also the game of Overwatch. Today, we're going to be looking at Symmetra. Symmetra came with the base game of Overwatch on May 24th, 2016, and was a hero all about technology and shields. I mean, her primary forms of fire was this big giant energy ball, alongside this beam lasso-like thing that wouldn't detach from the enemy, alongside her abilities having that same technology theme, where she had these little sentry beams that would shoot kind of like her primary form of fire. Plus, she also had this photon barrier that she gave to her allies, and to wrap things up, she had a teleporter that would only teleport enemies 6 times wherever she decided to place it. But that would all drastically change 3 years later to what we know as Symmetra today. So how did we end up here? Why did Symmetra change? And why is she still such a controversial hero? Well, this is Symmetra 3 years ago. During the first couple of months of Overwatch being out, it seemed like not a lot of people had a problem with Symmetra because they understood her role. She was a defense hero that was supposed to be played on maps like 2CP and Hybrid, that was supposed to give your teammates a stronghold against the enemy team with her sentries, with her shield, all that kind of stuff. But that's the problem, is that she wasn't a defense hero. She wasn't even in the category of defense heroes. She was a support hero. And then shortly after those first couple months, that's when problems started to emerge, because she was the support hero that was supposed to be played on defense, but was being played on attack, but still wasn't a support hero. So right out the get-go, it seemed like Symmetra really didn't even have her place in this puzzle that was called Overwatch. No one really knew how to handle her when she was picked outside of her role. She was basically the living meme of, I'm not like other girls. Or healers for that matter. But that was kind of her charm, is that she really didn't fit in with the hero roster. That's what made her different, was that she was different. But because she is different, that got a lot of people upset, which called for a major rework, which we would soon get on December 13th, 2016, that would change Symmetra entirely. Some for the best and some for the worst. Now, this came with a bunch of different changes that I can easily spitball to you, but the ones I want to focus on is, first of all, her photon barrier. This would start the trend of changing people's abilities, like Torbjorn's and Hanzo's and Mercy's. Symmetra was kind of the first guinea pig when it came to ability changes, because now instead of giving your teammates, all of your teammates, that 75 shield that would stay intact, well, now you would have this photon barrier that would allow you to be a little bit more aggressive on attack, because, well, you have a little bit of protection with Symmetra because of that photon barrier. But really, do you really think this little tiny shield's gonna protect me from a Roadhog hug? No! But hey, instead of 3 turrets, now you have 6. But then we'll get decreased to 3 turrets later on, but still you have 6 turrets. But within this Symmetra patch, we would also get an additional ultimate option with her already established teleporter ultimate, which would be the shield generator. Now again, this thing would be ultimately removed. Kill me! But at its time was extremely unique to Symmetra, because now she has 2 ultimate options. But it really didn't do its job. This whole entire patch really didn't help Symmetra be more friendly on attack, and in fact even made her more reliable on defense. With the additions of the 3 turrets, which enhance your defense of the point that you were defending, or with the shield generator that was supposed to be tucked away in the back near the point that you were defending, just caused even more problems and got people in the Overwatch community arguing about Symmetra, saying how she's so overpowered, but then even caused problems within the Symmetra community, because they thought Sim 1.0 was better based on their playstyle, and they thought Sim 2.0 was the way of the future because of their playstyle. It just, nobody was really happy with this change at the end of the day, but it was here to stay for at least a year and a half. During that year and a half, it seemed like Blizzard wasn't too concerned with quote-unquote fixing Symmetra, because they already fixed her. They pushed out the rework to the community. She was already balanced. Have fun, kids. Meanwhile, the kids started a fire when it came to Symmetra, dog. Yeah, Symmetra's great on defense. In fact, one of the best. But when it came to her on attack, she was little bit more challenge, and it started this whole entire conversation about hero roles. Should heroes be limited to a specific map on a specific attack or defense? Well, no, because players want to play the heroes that they want to play no matter what they're doing. But see, the thing is though, some heroes are tied to a specific role, which meant that they were only allowed to be played on defense. But I want to play Junkrat on attack, but I want to play Bastion on attack, but I want to play Symmetra on attack. Well, too bad, you're limited in defense, but I don't want to do that. But yeah, so Blizzard said, shut up, children, and said on June 26, 2018, not only will we rework the most controversial hero in the game, which is Symmetra, but we're gonna combine the offense category of heroes and the defense category of heroes into one category, which is gonna be renamed the offense category. Really? The offense hero category? You couldn't rename it the DPS? Yes, that meant with this change, Symmetra was now a DPS hero. Gone are the days of her as a support hero. Literally someone that gave her allies a shield, but hey, I guess that's supporting someone. But along with her new role came a bunch of changes to her abilities, which is going to be named Symmetra 3.0. Now, the whole entire point of this change was supposed to, well, require a little bit more skill when it came to Symmetra, but also rewarded the Symmetra players that practice Symmetra. Because you even see with her primary forms of fire, the exploding ball no longer pierced enemies because it would explode on impact, which allowed players to actually have to take time and aim the ball to be able to get more value and more DPS off when it came to her ball. But even her lasso gun was no longer a lasso that connected on the enemy because it was just a straight beam, sort of like Zarya's beam, and the whole point of that was supposed to, well, require aim when it came to Symmetra, but also rewarded the players that would stay connected, or tracking, as the kids like to call it, the enemy, that would build up over time and allow for more damage to be given off. But hey, remember a couple minutes ago when I said that Symmetra's turrets would be decreased by 3 again? Well, guess what? Now's the time, because now you only have 3. Oh god, the world is burning. It has a little bit of health. Oh god, the world is still burning! So now we have a third version of Symmetra that required a little bit more skill, but rewarded the sim players that actually took time to practice with the brand new beam, get it to level 3, shred through shields, and actually aim the energy ball and explode it on enemies. But it still leaves us with the question, is she now viable on attack? And boy, I'm here to spoil the ending because she is still challenged. I'm not saying she's unusable, she's just a challenge to use on attack. But over time, players would learn a new tactic with Symmetra with her new teleporter ability. Yes, she doesn't have her teleporter as an ultimate, and she also doesn't have the shield generator anymore. Now she has this big photon barrier that's 5,000 HP that is somewhat hard to use unless you can place it in the perfect spot, which I can never do. But with her teleporter, this allows for a lot more aggressive playstyle. No longer can you place a teleporter for your whole entire team to come back onto the first point of 2 CP and reclaim it for yourself, because that's just too unfair. No, you gotta use the teleporter for attacking turrets. What? Known as a sentry bomb or a teleporter bomb, or a derogatory term that I'm not going to repeat in this video. What you would do is you would place your 3 sentries, yes, that's right, you don't get 6, count them, 3 sentries on the ground, and then place your teleporter right in front of you that would have a teleporter 25 meters away that would be placed behind the enemy back line, and then those sentries would be transferred over and attack them, and that would be your DPS ability. Yep, that's Attack Symmetra. But with this update came a fun little game that would ultimately ruin my day, because while you could use the turrets to send it behind the enemy backline, what I see a lot of people do with their diva is send a diva bomb through the teleporter, surprise us, and then explode everybody because, oh, we're behind the Reinhardt shield. Why can't my Symmetra do that? All right, because she's not in game chat, because she's afraid of people calling her names or calling her a bot, because Symmetra is such a... And she was so much of an to the point where she would get buffed very, oh, so slightly over the next couple of months, where they would increase her beam from 10 meters to 12 meters. The beam would charge about 20% faster, and then 20% faster in armor, and that was really it. Up until April 16th, 2019, where her teleporter received the greatest buff of all time, because no longer were railings and other breakable objects able to block her teleporter. God dang, she still has problems. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be all the changes that Symmetra has received over the past 3 years, and leads us to our final destination, which is what we know of Symmetra nowadays. A very controversial hero, especially on attack, that's still argued about in the Overwatch community, but even in the Symmetra community. And I want to ask every single one of you guys, whether you're a Sim main or not, what do you like better? Symmetra 3.0, Symmetra 2.0, or Symmetra 1.0? Or do you think we need a Symmetra 4.0? And I guess that's just the one part about Symmetra that frustrates me. Again, I don't hate Symmetra, I don't hate any hero besides Hanzo. I just hate the fact that still after all these years and after all these updates, she's still struggling in Overwatch. I mean, even to the pros in the Overwatch League. Again, not my opinion, but to the pros, she doesn't bring much upside to her being used, which is why the pros never use her in the Overwatch League. But hopefully with Symmetra 4.0, she becomes a much more balanced hero, not only when she's on defense, but also attack and just more frequent use. But as it stands right now, Symmetra used to be a support hero that didn't support her teammates through the use of heals, but rather with shields and teleportation device, and had a primary form of fire that needed to be changed because she quote-unquote lacked skill. And now we know her as Symmetra today that still needs some rework, but let me know what you think. So I love you guys, thank you guys for watching, more Overwatch videos to come, and bye.